You wanted a show? Then watch how the truth looks.
Marriage is a lot like a server room. Looks stable from the outside, but one wrong wire and everything goes up in smoke. I'm Ethan Kale, 35, IT consultant, and I thought I knew all about maintaining systems. Turns out, I didn't know jack about maintaining a marriage to someone like Tessa. My wife is the kind of woman who could make a funeral feel like a party. Brilliant, beautiful, and sharp enough to cut glass. She's a marketing executive at Pinnacle Creative, one of those agencies that charges Fortune 500 companies 6 figures to tell them their logo needs more emotional resonance. Whatever the heck that means. The rain hammers our apartment windows this Tuesday morning in November. Typical Pacific Northwest weather that makes you question your life choices. I'm debugging code for a healthcare client when Tessa emerges from our bedroom, already dressed in her power suit. Charcoal gray, perfectly tailored, the kind that costs more than most people's rent. Late night again? I ask, not looking up from my laptop. Miranda's breathing down our necks about the Cascade Foods campaign. Lucas and I need to finalize the presentation. Lucas Hart, Tessa's work partner, best friend, and apparently the most important person in her universe these days. He's one of those guys who uses words like synergy unironically and thinks wearing expensive cologne makes him interesting. You've been working late a lot lately, I say, still typing. She pauses at the kitchen counter, pouring coffee into her travel mug. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just an observation. It sounds like you're keeping tabs on me, Ethan. I finally look up. She's giving me that look, the one that says I'm being unreasonable for noticing patterns. I'm not keeping tabs. I'm your husband. I notice when you're gone 12 hours a day. This is a big account. You know how important my career is. Yeah, I know. Almost as important as Lucas, apparently. Her jaw tightens. Lucas is my work partner. We're friends. I'm sorry if that threatens your masculinity. My masculinity is fine, thanks. It's just interesting how your friend texts you at 2 a.m. He's a night owl. Sometimes he gets ideas. I bet he does. She slams her mug down harder than necessary. You know what? This paranoid, jealous thing isn't attractive, Ethan. Maybe if you focused on your own career instead of monitoring mine, you'd understand what it takes to succeed in a competitive field. And there it is. The classic Tessa maneuver. Turn defense into offense. Make me the problem. She's been perfecting this technique for months. You're right, I say, returning to my screen. I should focus on my own work. Have fun with Lucas. She grabs her purse and heads for the door. I will. At least he supports my ambitions. The door closes with a sharp click, leaving me alone with the rain and a growing certainty that something is very wrong with my marriage. 3 days later, I'm working from our local coffee shop when I spot them. Tessa and Lucas, sitting in a corner booth at Romano's, the Italian place across the street. Nothing unusual about that. They eat lunch together regularly. But something about their body language catches my attention. They're leaning closer than necessary for a business conversation. Lucas reaches across the table and touches Tessa's hand. She doesn't pull away. Instead, she smiles. That genuine, radiant smile I haven't seen directed at me in months. I watch as Lucas says something that makes her laugh. The kind of laugh that lights up her whole face. Then he leans even closer and whispers something in her ear. Her cheeks flush pink. My coffee tastes like ash. I pull out my phone and call Mason Tran, my oldest friend, and the only person I trust completely. We've been buddies since middle school, and he's one of those rare people who tells you the truth, even when it hurts. Hey man, Mason answers. What's up? Can you meet me at Brewster's? I need to talk. Everything okay? You sound weird. Just meet me there. 20 minutes. Brewster's is a dive bar that serves decent burgers and doesn't ask questions. Mason finds me in a back booth nursing a beer and staring at the table. All right, spill it, he says, sliding into the opposite seat. You look like someone ran over your dog. I think Tessa's cheating on me. Mason's expression shifts from casual concern to serious attention. What makes you think that? I tell him about the late nights, the constant texting, the way she deflects my questions and makes me feel crazy for asking them. I describe what I saw at Romano's. Could be innocent, Mason says, but his tone suggests he doesn't believe it. Could be, but there's more. Last week, I was using her laptop to check email because mine was updating. She got a text notification that popped up on the screen. From Lucas, it said, Can't wait to have you all to myself tonight. Crap. What did you do? Nothing. She came back before I could process it, but I've been thinking about it ever since. Mason leans back in his seat. You need to know for sure. This uncertainty is eating you alive. How do I find out without becoming the paranoid husband she already thinks I am? Leave that to me. I've got some ideas. The next evening, Mason calls with information. I did some digging, asked around discreetly. Turns out Lucas has been bragging to people about his complicated situation with a married woman. And get this, Kendra Voss has been covering for them. Kendra. Tessa's best friend since college, a social media influencer who treats gossip like currency. If she's involved, this goes deeper than just an affair. Covering how? Providing alibis, telling people they're all working late together when really it's just Tessa and Lucas. She's been posting pictures on Instagram to make it look like group activities when it's actually just her alone. My stomach drops. So, this is premeditated. It's not just something that happened. They're actively deceiving me. Looks that way. I'm sorry, man. I sit in silence for a moment, processing the betrayal. Not just from Tessa, but from Kendra too. Someone I considered a friend. What are you going to do? Mason asks. I don't know yet, but I'm done being the clueless husband. The opportunity comes sooner than expected. Saturday night, Tessa announces she's having dinner with Lucas and some potential clients at Meridian, the upscale restaurant downtown. Big evening? I ask. Could be. This client could set us up for the next year. Sounds important. Maybe I should come along, show support. She freezes. What? I could meet your potential clients. Network a little? I know some people in tech who might be interested in marketing services. That's not necessary. This is a work thing. I thought you wanted me to be more supportive of your career. I can see her mind racing, trying to find a reason to exclude me without seeming suspicious. It's just, you don't really know the industry. You might not understand the conversation. Try me, I'm pretty smart for an IT guy. She forces a smile. Of course you are, it's just, maybe next time? This is really delicate. Sure, next time. But I'm already formulating a plan. That evening, I arrive at Meridian 30 minutes before Tessa's reservation. I request a table with a clear view of the dining room and order a drink. Mason joins me 10 minutes later. You sure about this? He asks. I need to see it with my own eyes. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and work on my trust issues. If you're right, then what? Then I stop being the victim. Tessa and Lucas arrive at 7:30. No clients in sight. They're seated at an intimate table for two, and within minutes, it's obvious this isn't a business dinner. Lucas orders wine. Expensive wine based on how long the sommelier spends describing it. They toast to something that makes Tessa giggle. There's your answer, Mason says quietly. I watch my wife of 6 years flirt with another man. She touches his arm when she laughs. He feeds her a bite of his appetizer. At one point, he reaches across and tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. The rage builds slowly, like water heating to a boil. But underneath the anger is something else. A cold, calculating fury that surprises me with its intensity. I want to confront them, I say. Here, now. No. Oh. That's what the old Ethan would do. The paranoid, jealous husband who makes scenes in restaurants. So, what's the new Ethan going to do? I pull out my phone and open the cloud backup app that syncs all our devices. Tessa and I share an account for photos and documents, which means I have access to her text messages, if I know where to look. The new Ethan is going to be smart about this. It takes me 20 minutes to find what I need. Months of messages between Tessa and Lucas, explicit and damning. But more interesting are the group chats with Kendra, where they discuss their operation to keep me in the dark. Look at this. I show Mason a particularly revealing exchange. Tessa. Ethan's getting suspicious. He asked about you texting late. Lucas. What did you tell him? Tessa. That you're a night owl with work ideas. Kendra. LOL. If he only knew what kind of ideas. Lucas. Maybe we should cool it for a while. Tessa. No way. I'm not letting his insecurity control my life. Besides, Kendra's got our backs. Kendra. Always. I'll post some group photos tonight to make it look like we're all hanging out. Jesus, Mason mutters. They're treating you like a joke. Not for much longer. I spend the next hour collecting screenshots, organizing evidence, and planning my response. Tessa and Lucas finish their romantic dinner and leave together, probably heading to his apartment. So what's the play? Mason asks. I'm going to give them exactly what they want, a public scene, but not the kind they're expecting. Tuesday evening, I suggest we have dinner at Meridian, the same restaurant where I watched Tessa's date with Lucas. That's expensive, she says. What's the occasion? I've been thinking about what you said, about being more supportive. I want to make an effort. She looks suspicious, but agrees. Should we invite Lucas and Kendra? Make it a group thing? Perfect. Great idea. Great. The more the merrier. I make reservations for 4 and spend the afternoon preparing. Mason helps me set up the technical aspects of my plan while I rehearse what I'm going to say. You sure about this approach? Mason asks. Once you pull this trigger, there's no going back. There's already no going back. She made that choice when she decided to humiliate me behind my back. That evening, we meet at Meridian. Lucas arrives in a suit that probably costs more than my car payment, all smiles and fake enthusiasm. Ethan, great to see you, buddy. Tessa says you wanted to get to know me better. Something like that. Kendra shows up fashionably late, already documenting the evening on her Instagram story. This is going to be such a fun night, she announces, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. We're seated at a table near the center of the dining room, exactly where I requested. The restaurant is busy, perfect for what I have planned. Dinner conversation is awkward. Lucas dominates, talking about campaigns and clients and industry trends. Tessa hangs on his every word, laughing at jokes that aren't funny and agreeing with opinions that contradict things she's told me privately. You two work so well together, I observe, like you're perfectly in sync. We just click, Lucas says, reaching over to squeeze Tessa's shoulder. Some partnerships are natural. Natural, that's one word for it. Kendra, oblivious to the undercurrents, keeps taking photos. You guys are so cute together. The perfect work couple. They certainly are. I excuse myself to use the restroom, but instead head to the bar where I've arranged to meet the restaurant's AV technician. For $200, he's agreed to help me with a surprise presentation for my wife. When I return to the table, dessert is being served. Lucas is feeding Tessa a bite of chocolate cake, and she's giggling like a teenager. Before we finish up, I announce, standing, I wanted to share something special with everyone. I signal the technician, who dims the lights and activates the wall-mounted screen, typically used for business presentations. Ethan, what are you doing? Tessa asks, suddenly alert. Just sharing some memories, honey. I thought everyone would enjoy seeing how close you and Lucas have become. The screen lights up with screenshots of their text messages. The explicit ones, the ones where they mock me, the ones where they plan their deception with Kendra's help. The restaurant goes quiet as nearby diners turn to look at the display. Tessa's face drains of color. Lucas starts to stand, but I put a firm hand on his shoulder. Sit down, Lucas. You're going to want to see this. More messages appear. Photos they've sent each other. Plans for romantic getaways. Discussions about how clueless I am. Jesus Christ, someone at a nearby table mutters. Kendra tries to grab my phone, thinking I'm controlling the display remotely. Turn it off! Turn it off right now! I can't. It's on a timer. The final slide is a group chat where all 3 of them mock my paranoia and laugh about how easy it is to fool me. The screen goes dark. The restaurant erupts in whispers and pointing. Several people are recording with their phones. Tessa is shaking. How could you do this? How could I do this? I sit back down, completely calm. That's an interesting question, coming from someone who's been lying to me for months. Lucas finds his voice. This is insane. You're humiliating your own wife. I'm not humiliating anyone. I'm just sharing the truth. Isn't that what you wanted, Tessa? For me to be more involved in your life? You're sick, Kendra hisses. This is misuse. No, Kendra. Misuse is what you 3 have been doing to me. Gaslighting me, making me think I was paranoid and jealous when I was actually just observant. I stand and drop cash on the table for dinner. I'll be staying at Mason's for a while. Tessa, have your lawyer call mine. I walk out of the restaurant, leaving them sitting in stunned silence while the entire dining room stares and whispers. Outside, Mason is waiting by his car. How'd it go? Like a controlled demolition. Clean, precise, and devastating. What now? Now we wait and see how they respond, because I guarantee they're not going to take this lying down. I'm right. By morning, the story has evolved considerably. According to social media posts from Kendra and sympathetic comments from their mutual friends, I'm now a controlling husband who violated my wife's privacy and humiliated her publicly out of jealousy and spite. Lucas posts a long Instagram story about toxic masculinity and how some men can't handle successful women having male friends. The comments are full of support for him and condemnation for me. Tessa's version, shared through Kendra's account since she's temporarily avoiding social media, paints me as unstable and possibly dangerous. She's staying with friends because she doesn't feel safe at home. The narrative is carefully crafted and surprisingly effective. By afternoon, I'm getting cold shoulders from mutual acquaintances and even some colleagues. "They're good," Mason observes as we scroll through the posts. "They flip the script fast, and too coordinated. This isn't damage control. This is a planned response." My phone rings. It's Miranda Julian, Tessa's boss at Pinnacle Creative. "Ethan, I think we should talk." We meet at a coffee shop downtown. Miranda is a sharp woman in her mid-40s who built her agency from nothing and doesn't suffer fools. "I want to hear your side," she says without preamble. I tell her everything: the lies, the gaslighting, the coordinated deception. I show her some of the messages I didn't display at the restaurant, the ones where Tessa and Lucas discuss using company resources for personal meetings and charging personal expenses to client accounts. Miranda's expression grows darker as she reads. "I had no idea it had gone this far." "What do you mean?" "I knew they were close. Too close, maybe. But I thought it was just office flirtation. This," she gestures to the phone, "this is a liability issue. They're using company time and resources for an affair, and now it's become a public spectacle. What are you going to do?" "What I have to do. They'll both be suspended pending a full investigation." That evening, I get a furious call from Lucas. "You son of a witch! You got us suspended!" "I didn't get you suspended. Your behavior got you suspended. This is maltreatment. I'm calling the police." "Go ahead. Tell them how I harassed you by revealing your own text messages. You violated Tessa's privacy. I accessed my own cloud account that she agreed to share. Nothing illegal about that. You're destroying her career." "No, Lucas. She destroyed her career when she decided to have an affair and lie about it. I just documented the truth." He hangs up, but I know this isn't over. The next morning, I wake up to find my car vandalized. "Misuser" is spray painted across the windshield in red letters. The tires are slashed. I call the police and file a report, but I already know who's responsible. What's interesting is that they did it in my apartment complex's parking garage, which has security cameras. I request the footage from building management. It takes some convincing and a small fee, but I get what I need. Clear video of Lucas entering the garage at 2 a.m., vandalizing my car, and leaving. "Now what?" Mason asks when I show him the footage. "Now, I return the favor." Lucas drives a white Tesla Model S, his pride and joy. He parks it in the garage of his luxury apartment building, the kind of place with a doorman and valet service. Getting access requires some creativity, but Mason knows a guy who knows a guy. For $300, we get a maintenance uniform and 20 minutes unsupervised in the garage. I don't slash his tires. That would be too obvious. Instead, I use a more subtle approach. A small amount of sugar in the gas tank won't actually damage the engine, despite popular belief, but it will cause performance issues that will be expensive to diagnose. More importantly, I spray paint "Homewrecker" across his driver's side door in letters large enough to be seen from across the street. The building's security cameras capture everything, but I'm wearing a maintenance uniform with a baseball cap pulled low, and I keep my face turned away from the cameras. By noon, photos of Lucas's vandalized Tesla are circulating on social media. Someone in his building posted them with the caption, "Karma is a Tesla." Lucas calls me screaming, "I know it was you. Prove it." I'm pressing charges. For what? I have an alibi. I was at work all morning. Check the logs. Which is true. I made sure to badge in early and stay visible to colleagues all morning. Mason handled the actual vandalism. This isn't over. You're right. It's not. That afternoon, I get a call from Sarah Chen, Lucas's girlfriend. I'd forgotten he had one. He's been so busy with Tessa. "Is this Ethan Cale?" "Yes. I think we need to talk." We meet at a neutral location, a busy shopping center food court where we can blend into the crowd. Sarah is Asian American, probably late 20s, with an engineering degree and a no-nonsense attitude. She's also furious. "Lucas has been cheating on me," she says without preamble. "I'm sorry to hear that. With your wife." "I know. He thinks I don't know, but I've known for weeks. I was trying to figure out how to handle it when your restaurant thing happened." "What do you want from me?" "I want to make him pay. Both of them." I study her face. She's serious, and she's angry enough to be useful. What did you have in mind? Lucas is presenting a big campaign to a client next week, Cascade Foods. It's worth millions to his agency. He's been working on it with your wife. And I happen to know that he's been inflating his hours, charging personal expenses to the project, and taking credit for work that other people did. I have documentation. Why are you telling me this? Because I want him ruined professionally, and I want your wife to go down with him. I consider this. Sarah's motivation is revenge, same as mine, but she has access to information I don't. What do you need from me? Help getting the information to the right people. I can't do it directly. It would look like a jealous girlfriend trying to sabotage her ex. But if it came from you, as the wronged husband exposing their affair, it would look like justice. Exactly. We spend an hour going through her evidence. It's damning. Clear documentation of expense fraud, time theft, and plagiarism. Combined with the affair evidence, it's enough to destroy both their careers. There's one more thing, Sarah says as we prepare to leave. Kendra's been helping them cover this up. She's not just providing alibis for the affair, she's been helping them hide the financial stuff too. How? She runs a social media consulting business. They've been funneling money through her accounts to make it look like legitimate business expenses. This keeps getting better. All three of them are involved in actual fraud, not just personal betrayal. I'll need documentation of that too. I can get it. Give me a week. While Sarah gathers evidence, I focus on the psychological warfare. I start small, having flowers delivered to Tessa at work with a card that says, "For my favorite married woman, L." When she calls to confront me, I play innocent. "I didn't send you flowers. The card has Lucas's initial. Maybe Lucas sent them. Why would I send flowers to someone I'm divorcing? You're trying to make it look like he's flaunting the affair. Tessa, you're already flaunting the affair. I'm just documenting it." I also start showing up places where I know they'll be. Not stalking, just exercising my right to exist in public spaces. When they have lunch at Romano's, I grab a coffee at the shop across the street and sit by the window reading a newspaper. When they attend a work networking event, I show up with Mason, working the room and making professional connections. My presence makes them paranoid and uncomfortable, which leads to mistakes. The biggest mistake comes when Lucas confronts me in a parking garage downtown. "You need to stop," he says, cornering me between two cars. "Stop what?" "Following us. Harassing us. This stalking behavior?" "I'm not stalking anyone. I'm living my life in the same city where I've lived for 10 years. You're trying to intimidate us." "Are you intimidated, Lucas?" He steps closer, trying to use his height advantage to seem threatening. "You're pathetic. Tessa never loved you. She settled for you because she thought you were safe, but you turned out to be a psycho." Interesting theory. Did she tell you that before or after she married me? "She's been unhappy for years. You're boring, you're paranoid, and you're not man enough to satisfy a woman like her." "And you are." "You better believe it." I pull out my phone, which has been recording the entire conversation. "Thanks for clearing that up." His face goes white. "You can't record me without consent." "Actually, I can. This is a one-party consent state, and you just admitted to having an affair with my wife and harassing me in a parking garage." "Delete that." "No." He lunges for the phone. I step aside and he stumbles, catching himself against a car. When he straightens up, his face is red with rage. "You think you're so smart," he snarls. "Smarter than someone who confesses to adultery on a recorded phone call, apparently." He swings at me. I duck, and his fist connects with the car window behind me. The glass cracks, and he yelps in pain. "Attack and destruction of property," I observe. "This recording just keeps getting better." "I'll destroy you," he threatens, cradling his injured hand. "You already tried that, Lucas. How'd it work out?" I walk away, leaving him bruised and furious in the parking garage. The security cameras captured the entire encounter, showing him as the aggressor and me as the victim defending myself. Within an hour, I've uploaded the audio to a cloud account and sent copies to Sarah, Mason, and my lawyer. Lucas just handed me everything I need to destroy him. Sarah delivers as promised. The financial evidence she provides is devastating. Months of fraudulent expenses, inflated hours, and misappropriated funds. Combined with Kendra's involvement in laundering money through fake consulting contracts, it's enough to trigger criminal charges. But I want more than just legal consequences. I want public humiliation on the same scale they tried to inflict on me. The opportunity comes when Pinnacle Creative hosts their annual client appreciation party. a black tie event at the city's most prestigious hotel. Tessa and Lucas, despite being suspended, plan to attend as guests of other employees. I know this because Sarah is still monitoring Lucas's communications. He's convinced that if he can network at the party and smooth things over with Miranda, he can save his job. He's delusional, Sarah says when she shows me his texts. Miranda's already decided to fire both of them. She's just waiting for the investigation to conclude. Then let's help her reach that conclusion. I arranged for Mason to attend the party as my guest. I'm technically invited as Tessa's spouse, and our divorce isn't finalized yet. We dress appropriately and arrive fashionably late. The ballroom is packed with marketing executives, creative directors, and potential clients. Tessa looks stunning in a black evening gown, working the room with Lucas at her side. They're putting on a show of professional partnership, trying to rehabilitate their image. Kendra is there too, documenting everything for social media and playing the role of supportive friend. I wait until the evening's presentations begin. Miranda takes the stage to thank clients and announce upcoming projects. During her speech, I send a carefully timed email to her, the hotel's AV technician, and several key clients. The email contains a compressed file of evidence: the affair texts, the financial fraud documentation, and the audio recording of Lucas's parking garage confession. But more importantly, it contains a PowerPoint presentation that I've prepared for this moment. When Miranda finishes her remarks and asks if anyone has additional announcements, I stand up. Actually, I'd like to share something with everyone. Tessa spots me and goes pale. Lucas starts moving toward the exit, but Mason blocks his path. I'm Ethan Cale, and I have some information about Pinnacle Creative that I think you'll find interesting. The lights dim and the presentation screen activates. The first slide reads, Fraud, Adultery, and Embezzlement, a Case Study in Corporate Ethics. What follows is a methodical destruction of all three conspirators, text messages showing the affair, financial records proving embezzlement, audio of Lucas admitting to maltreatment and attack, photos of expense reports for romantic dinners charged to client accounts. The audience is riveted. Several people are recording with their phones. Miranda looks shocked but doesn't stop the presentation. She's seeing some of this evidence for the first time. The final slide shows Kendra's involvement in money laundering, complete with bank records and fake invoices. When the presentation ends, the ballroom is silent except for the sound of people whispering and phones buzzing with notifications. Tessa is crying. Lucas has disappeared. Mason later tells me he saw him vomiting in the men's room. Kendra is frantically trying to delete her social media accounts. Miranda takes the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you that Pinnacle Creative takes ethics very seriously. The individuals involved in this presentation are no longer associated with our agency. Effective immediately. The crowd applauds. Several clients approach Miranda to express their support and confidence in the agency's integrity. I walk over to where Tessa is standing alone, abandoned by her co-conspirators. How could you do this to me? She whispers. The same way you did it to me, Tessa. Methodically and without remorse. I never meant for it to go this far. Yes, you did. You planned it, executed it, and celebrated it. The only thing you didn't plan for was getting caught. What happens now? Now you face the consequences. Miranda's filing charges for embezzlement. Lucas's girlfriend is suing him for fraud. And Kendra's about to discover that money laundering is a federal crime. And us? There is no us. There hasn't been for months. I'm just making it official. I turn to leave, then pause. Oh, and Tessa? Next time you want to gaslight someone, make sure they're not smart enough to document everything. # epilogue, Thunder's End. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my new apartment, reading the morning news on my tablet. The local business journal has a small item about 3 former marketing executives being sentenced for embezzlement and fraud. Tessa got 18 months in minimum security. Lucas got 2 years. Kendra got the harshest sentence, 3 years for money laundering and tax evasion. My phone rings. It's Sarah. Did you see the news? Just finished reading it. How do you feel? Satisfied? You? The same. Lucas lost everything, his job, his reputation, his freedom. It's more than I hoped for. What are you doing now? Starting my own consulting firm. Turns out there's a market for ethical business practices. Who knew? I laugh. Good for you. What about you? Any regrets? I consider the question. Do I regret destroying 3 people's lives? Do I feel guilty about the methodical way I dismantled their careers, relationships, and freedom? No, I say finally. They made their choices. I just made sure those choices had consequences. After hanging up, I return to my tablet and scroll through social media. Tessa's accounts have been deactivated. Lucas's last post is from 8 months ago. Kendra's Instagram, once boasting 50,000 followers, now has 12 followers and no posts. Mason stops by that evening with takeout and beer. Any word from the ex-wife? He asks. Her lawyer called yesterday. She wants to settle the divorce quickly and quietly. What did you tell him? That I'm willing to be reasonable. She can keep whatever assets aren't tied up in the criminal case. That's generous. I don't need her money. I just needed her to understand that actions have consequences. Mission accomplished. We eat in comfortable silence, watching the rain streak down my windows. The storm that started this whole mess has long since passed, but the Pacific Northwest always has another one coming. You know what's funny? I say eventually. What? They thought I was the weak one, the boring, paranoid husband who couldn't handle his wife's success. They underestimated me because I didn't fight back immediately. Their mistake. Yeah, they forgot that the best revenge isn't a dish served cold. It's a dish served publicly with documentation and with legal consequences. Mason raises his beer. To thunder that strikes back. To thunder that strikes back. We drink to that and to the satisfaction of a job well done. Outside, another storm is building on the horizon, but I'm not worried. I've learned how to handle storms. Turns out thunder doesn't just strike, it reverses course. And this time I was holding the lightning rod,